Well, good morning, everyone. This is a time in our service where we like to interview someone from our congregation. We talk a little bit about their story, or at least a small piece of it, because we believe God is working through every single person's life. And we can often be encouraged and inspired by the faith of someone else. But we don't have someone from our congregation here in Jacksonville this morning, but I do have a very special guest, very special friends of my wife and I's, and that's actually Guy and Cathy Hammond are in town with us this weekend. And Guy is going to be preaching a little bit later in a few more minutes here, but I wanted to have his wife Cathy up here and just talk for a little minute, because a lot of people are not going to know your story, but they're going to get caught up on it really quick here by the time we get to the end of service. But Cathy, you know, if someone just ran across your family up in Canada where you live, up in Toronto, they would see you and your husband. They would see 4 amazing kids. They would now see a grandchild as well. You're a grandma, which is amazing. But no one would really actually know the backstory. And the backstory is that when you were a young Christian, just out of college, correct?
I was about 22.
About 22, you became a Christian.
Yeah.
You met Guy, who is your husband now.
I did.
Guy's story, though, before Guy became a Christian, he was living an active life in the homosexual community. He became a Christian and changed that and never went back to that. But yet what didn't change was his same-sex attraction, which he's going to talk about here in just in a few minutes. And you guys met, dated, and decided to get married. And so you went into a marriage with somebody who was same-sex attracted to men, not women. Did you have moments as you were leading up to the wedding to think, what am I doing, and how's this going to work?
I definitely did. I shared a little bit yesterday, but there was a lot of fear, a lot of questions, the unknown, things that I couldn't ask anybody else because I didn't know anybody that was heterosexually attracted to marrying somebody that was homosexually attracted. So I was afraid of whether a physical relationship would ever work, and what would that look like, what would we do if that didn't work, because we couldn't try that out before we got married. And so that was a big one. Also, just down the road, what would our life look like if we couldn't have children? What would, it sort of goes from there. And just the fear of the unknown. What did God have planned there? Yeah,
so a lot of unknowns, a lot of fears. Obviously, you loved him, and that's why you wanted to go ahead.
Yes.
I want to ask the question that maybe a lot of women are thinking about right now, which is, if you're married to someone who's not sexually attracted to you, does that cause all kinds of insecurities?
Well, when we were dating, and Guy had said that he was still attracted to men, although his past was active homosexuality, he let me know that he was still attracted to men. He didn't know if that would ever change. And so I had that question of, if he's attracted to men, but he says he wants to marry me, does that mean I look like a guy? So that kind of brought a few of those insecurities I had never thought of before. But he reassures me all the time, and very verbally reaffirms that what he is attracted to in me is something beyond just a lustful attraction. Mm-hmm. And so that, honestly, as a woman, I don't want men lusting after me. What I want is to be appreciated and valued for who I am. And that is what Guy affirms in me, is that I'm a valued person in his life.
Yeah. That's fantastic. And you guys are coming up on your 25th anniversary soon, which is amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Coming up on your 25th anniversary, you have a fantastic marriage. What would you say, if you were going to give some marriage advice here, what's been a secret to your marriage being great, given all the surrounding circumstances?
I think what Guy would share, and I think what he's taught me, certainly coming into this marriage, is that it's more important to find out what we can give to each other than what we can get from each other. And I think I came in thinking very normally, I'm going to be taken care of and given to, and seeing Guy work at that, and knowing that every moment of our intimate time together, he's denying his natural self, makes me want to give more and more to him to make sure that he's fulfilled. And so I pray through that. I pray through our relationship. I pray to know and know from God what it is that he would need in order to feel fulfilled.
And I love that message, and Guy talked a little bit about it yesterday, how in a marriage, again, what makes any marriage work is when two people decide that it's not about what they get. It's deciding, I'm going to love this person the way God has called me to love them.
Yeah.
And when you switch your mindset to that, it's not as big a deal that someone leaves their socks on the floor or things like that.
Yeah, when I start looking at those little things and I kind of voice those, to God, why is he doing that? What's happening here? And then I start thinking, really? That's what I'm going to complain about? It's embarrassing almost when you bring it to God like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think you're an inspiration to a lot of people because so many of us can get, disenchanted in our marriages because there's some need that's not being met for us. Yeah. And you guys have both just courageously been like, you know what, we're gonna love each other the way God has called us to love. And God has blessed that with not only 25 years, but a fantastic family unit. And you're just a great example in that.
Thank you.
And it must be kind of crazy in that if we back up 10 years ago, what you're doing now probably wasn't even on the radar.
No.
The fact that you guys are literally traveling the world, helping people who are same-sex attracted, helping Christians minister to people who are same-sex attracted, and that wasn't even the plan.
No.
Yeah.
No. Really, honestly, the first 15 years of our marriage, once we had discussed sort of these fears and thoughts and, what would we do in certain circumstances and then got married, we didn't talk about this in our marriage a lot at all. Honestly, it wasn't a big deal, and it wasn't something that was on our radar. I mean, certainly when Guy struggled with things, he has men that he speaks to all the time, but I don't want to know. I don't want to know those details. I don't want to be his accountability partner in that sense. And so I think he kept that very close, those cards sort of very close, and there were only a few people who really he shared very openly about this with. And so to see him come out of that sort of shame and secrecy and not sure of what people are going to respond like, and to see him share so vulnerably, as you'll see in a little bit, is just, it's definitely from God.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, I know that behind every man that's influencing thousands and thousands of people like your husband is, there's a powerful woman that's been a great support in his corner. And I know that you've done that. Like I said, you've been an inspiration to us, to our family, to so many people out there. And, in our church, we just did this sermon series called Storyline. And it talks about how God is always using the story of our lives to impact other people. Not only our gifts and our strengths, but our experiences and just how we were raised and who we are. And you guys exemplify that sometimes we may not want to use our story. Yeah. But God has another plan, and you guys have faithfully answered that call, and you continue to live by faith with this ministry. And so we're excited to hear from Guy in just a few minutes. But Cathy, again, we respect you so much. Thank you for being here yesterday, sharing at the workshop. And everybody, my friend Cathy Hammond.
Thank you very much.